Yes, guys, welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am your host, Victor Onyango. Now, Franklin D. Roosevelt once said that in politics, nothing happens by accident. And if it happens, you can sure bet that it was planned that way. Kenyan politics has been like a revolving door where one person comes from one end and he gets out through the other end. And in this mix, we get confused in terms of understanding where each person stands, more so when it comes to determining their political position. Since we had our elections in 2022, Kenyans have been treated to factionalism, where people from one political camp move from the original position and head to another party. This has not just been left to politicians, but also their supporters and those who hang around them. Now, for the last 2 months, the government has been receiving serious criticisms, more so on the social media platform. And it seems that it has lacked a good strategy to counter this kind of negative comments, more so on their policies. You will realize that most policy proposals that are given, especially in the finance bill, they have met critical opposition from Kenyans in different quarters. And largely, this opposition is in social media. For every political strategist and any campaigner, you know that in this digital age, social media plays a critical role in determining or in shaping perception of many people. More so when you know that the most active segment of the population exists in the social media, it is only fair that a leader plans and has an engagement with people through the social media platform. We have known that the Kenya Kwanza government has been having an elaborate plan to handle its social media strategy. And this was led beginning from the Jubilee government. You realize Denis Itumbi became the face of social media propaganda, more so first from the Jubilee administration. He transitioned into the William Ruto campaign, and he did well up to the period when campaign and election started and ended. So since they got into government, there has been some laxity in this area. And I think the main reason why many people have thrown jabs at them is because of how lofty the promises they gave during elections were and the outcome that people are getting. So, in a bid to address this fallout, the Kenya Kwanza regime has embarked in recruiting ODM bloggers, and especially those who worked for Azimio. This came out specifically on 7th. Now, Kenya Kwanza has been recruiting those who are running the Azimio social media campaign into their team, and especially they've been going through the Ministry of Interior. And this happens because, one person, Silas Jakakimba, who was a long-time aide to Raila Odinga, resigned from ODM on 17th March 2023. After resigning, he also wrote a good letter praising Raila Odinga and gave him. And then he distanced himself from the ODM party. Now, since then, he has been on a campaign and on a strategy to recruit members of Azimio social media team into the government. And this was revealed, though it has been going on, it was revealed by Pauline Njoroge. Pauline Njoroge provided some graphics that details how the government is failing in terms of dispersing money to different critical sectors of the economy. One of them was schools, where there was delay in capitation. There is also that of NHIF that she highlighted. There is also that Inua Jamii money that she highlighted. And she was kind of saying that where did this money go? Now, when she made that post, Silas Jakakimba gave her a response. And just the first point is what I'll read for you from Jakakimba. It says, it is on record, that is on his social media handle, it is on record, and this was during the handshake that President Kenyatta publicly declared that under his watch, the country was losing 2 billion Kenya shillings per day to corruption. That is 700 billion per year. So, first of all, if you read that statement, you get to understand that Jakakimba is distancing himself or acknowledging guilt that the Azimio team was involved in running down this economy. And this is a narrative that has been sold by many in the Kenya Kwanza regime. While it might be true, and it might also not be true, the level of involvement of Raila Odinga into the team also is questionable, but I won't argue about that. This was somebody who yesterday was running around Bomas with Raila Odinga. Every public event sitting behind Raila Odinga. National holidays sitting behind Raila Odinga. Taking advantage of opportunities here and there. It baffles me how this guy turns around like a turncoat to claim these kind of things. This only serves to tell you that Kenyan politics is like a revolving door and it never knows where to end. But I want to take you to the response that Pauline Njoroge gave him. And this is what caught my attention. Now, this is what Pauline Njoroge says to him. My brother Silas Jakakimba, you are here claiming how the previous regime left a big financial hole, which Ruto is trying to fix. Yet last week, you and your very senior friends in government were offering me Kenya shillings 500,000 per month to cross over to your team. Where was the money going to come from if the country is in a financial hole? You should just have kept off this topic because me and you know the truth. Fellow Kenyans, I must tell you that this country is undergoing serious reorganization. And it seems we are moving away from a service that was sincere and selfless to a service that is self-centered and self-seeking. If you look that a government can offer somebody a monthly payment of 500,000 Kenya shillings just to work or to just switch sides, what kind of government is that? Yet Kenyans are crying about high cost of living. To me, there are many areas of leakages that this government has left open. If they could afford to hire Pauline Njoroge for the period that is not known to us, but on a monthly salary of 500,000 Kenya shillings, this is a huge money. How many such bloggers do you think the government has employed? And that is not the end. If you are keen online, you'll note that most, in fact, I would say though they were a little junior, most of those bloggers who are pushing agendas for Azimio, they have all been picked and they have gone. starting with, though this, I don't know whether he was a blogger, but he had been championing the idea of ODM and Azimio for quite some time. The senatorial candidate in Muranga calls himself Zachary Kinuthia, or believe Kinuthia. He has been co-opted into the team. We also have Miss Murugu, who the same Silas Jakakimba organized at some point when Raila was having a rally in, I think, central, somewhere in Muranga. If not Muranga, it was in Nyeri. Jakakimba organized for Miss Murugu and Mr. Murugu himself to meet Baba and talk to him. These were ardent supporters of Azimio. But right now you realize that after getting a small stipend, they have decided to switch camps. We also have one who was working in the office of ODM, December or Dikembe. The guy is slowly going there. He has gone, but I think he's a little bit afraid to just come out publicly and say that I have gone and that is it. These are close friends of Jakakimba and Omolo PS, Raymond. So the Kenya Kwanza regime, having seen that Kenyans are ganging up against them, they have decided to seek legitimacy and try to shape the current political discourse by co-opting members of Azimio team into their team. But looking at the way Kenyans have become more alert, I can tell you that these works will not live to see the light of day. Because first of all, Kenyans have become more wiser, Kenyans have become more aware, Kenyans engage in almost everything, and they have that space to speak up their mind. As long as something is on the social media, and as long as something has been revealed, they will give their free opinion about it. And therefore, I don't know what you think, whether this strategy that the government has started is real. But then again, ask yourself, this salary of 500,000 Kenya shillings, with that money, it is just there to be given freely to someone who is willing to turn their allegiance. Isn't the government having money to kind of do some services that are necessary? So let us not be cheated that the government is broke or the government is lacking, because they have money to waste. But when it comes to doing critical things, they seem to be unaware of where they can get that money. So I don't know your opinion. I don't know whether you are also of the opinion that, first of all, for me, those who have gone and worked with that team from the Azimio team, I do not begrudge them, because one thing I understand is that I always say, and Kenyans always say, that poverty is the enemy. So if they have gone to find something to eat, there's no issue about that. But at least let us form a culture where Kenyans can have straight stand, so that it is known whether you are a Republican or you are a Democrat, you are a Kenya Kwanza supporter or you are an Azimio supporter. That gives people credibility. But when you can just switch sides without giving consideration to morals and our ethical standing, it critically destroys our level of engagement. So that's all for now. Have yourself a good day and enjoy your time. Thank you.